Hello, everyone. Welcome to March 20th. It's a Thursday, 2025. Your Day with the Podcast brought to you by ConverseCountyTourism.com. Feel the energy of Converse County. Explore Douglas's railroad heritage, Ayers Natural Bridge, and the Jackalope legend. Glen Rock boasts scenic trails, dinosaur history, and small town charm. Plan your visit at ConverseCountyTourism.com. Pacific waves, mountain snow, and wind on the plains. That is your forecast basically through Sunday. Don't worry, it gets better, especially early next week, but over the course of the next 4 days here, we have fast-moving waves. They're not going to dig. They're going to go west to east very quickly. This will bring more snow to the high country, a few showers to the plains. Wind and temperatures will be warmer, but with the wind and a lot of high and mid-level clouds with these waves, it really won't be feeling all that warm, and the wind will be a nuisance. So 2 waves, one today and tonight, another one over the weekend. And so as they come on through, off and on rain and snow showers in the plains and snow showers off and on up in the mountain areas. That high pressure ridge we talked about next week is on tap. It really looks very spring-like Monday through Thursday of next week. And I think probably into Friday as well for most of the West. The exception will be for you folks in California and the Pacific Northwest, where you're going to, by the middle of next week, start to get wet, as there's going to be a very large trough off the West Coast developing at the same time high pressures over the Rockies. We've got this big low that's going to stretch from just off the coast of British Columbia to just off the coast of California. The computer modeling is having a difficult time with it, but history shows us that when we get a system like this, that eventually it starts to break into pieces, and those pieces then start to come across the Rockies, and that will likely get started by next weekend. So next weekend is when things start to get busy again. Most of next week, though, will be dominated by high pressure. Look at that. We've got a bluebird in the snow by Lander. How many other folks have seen bluebirds? Has anyone seen a robin yet? I know robins should be out there. I haven't seen a robin yet, but if you've seen a robin, let us know and send a photo. Blue skies, though, behind yesterday's storm system, and it came on through. There's a spring-like look. We've got some fresh snow on the mountains and greening grass there in Utah, and some darker blue March skies with a little bit of a sun halo and sundog activity there. The service map this morning shows the low is now all the way up into the Great Lakes, headed towards the East Coast, with high pressure coming in behind it. And then you can see this next Pacific front and wave is coming into Washington and Oregon, already pushing showers into the Pacific Northwest. So this wave by tomorrow will be already through, and you'll see another frontal system come into the Pacific Northwest behind it. So here's the current frontal system, a lot of high and mid-level clouds, but moisture, especially in the levels that will hit the mountains. And then you can see there's more activity up here, another little low up here, so there's more waves coming in right behind it. So today, there's the little wave, there's the low over the Great Lakes, and here's just a very strong jet stream wind racing its way across the Gulf of Alaska. We'll see this system move through today and tonight. By Saturday, the Saturday wave is stronger. It's a little more moist, but it's not digging. It's mainly going west to east. So you're going to get strong jet streams going perpendicular to the Continental Divide, so that means wind, I'm afraid, and Pacific moisture will interject into the system. So this will produce a good amount of snow in the high country. This is one of these situations where the clouds will shroud the mountains. We'll have high and mid-level clouds and occasionally a shower moving out across the plains. Very typical for this time of year. If we put both systems together, this is what the precipitation looks like. You can see there'll be shower activity across the Dakotas, across Montana. Then you're going to get heavier snow in the bigger mountain ranges of the Pacific Northwest and the Northern Rockies. A lot of rain along the Pacific Northwest coast. Southwestern United States will be dry, as the jet stream is just going to want to ride north. So we get through the weekend, and we'll have to unfortunately get through a little bit of winter weather. There you can see the snow in the mountains. And then I talked about the wind. It's just going to be what I call nuisance wind. Yes, we'll have some very strong wind gusts along I-80, along I-25, South Pass, Estes Park areas. You get up into the mountains there, Rocky Mountain National Park, around southern Colorado, northern New Mexico, the perennial windy areas will have the wind as the strong jet stream winds just cut across. It's just a windy pattern. If you look at climate normals, climate averages, March is one of the windier months of the year, and this is why, as we're making the transition. So we'll have to deal with the wind basically persistently through at least the next 4 days. But there's the high. So high pressure means a happy face in terms of at least a much warmer, sunnier pattern. We're still going to be looking at some breezy areas. We'll still have some wind with this jet stream wind cutting through the region, but overall, we're going to have an area of nice high pressure building on into the western United States. A very deep, cold, moist, unstable air mass then forms off the Pacific Northwest coast. The whole key to the forecast after this high pressure ridge is what this system decides to do. Is it going to wobble, just stay off the west coast? Is it going to come in one piece through the western United States or break off into little pieces? Well, we've already told you it will probably break off into little pieces, and it probably will. But look at the high pressure ridge. If you highlight the temperature anomaly from Monday through Friday of next week, this is the temperature anomaly for 5 days. So you can see the dominant high and the above average temperatures that come underneath this mountain of high pressure. Now you can see outside of the mountain where that low is off the west coast, it's colder. So we're going to benefit from this pattern right here. So it'll be several days of spring-like conditions. I can guarantee a lot of folks are going to say, no more snow, we're done. It's spring now for good. But I always tell people that April is the cruelest month of the year. And that's because you can have your hopes and dreams dashed very quickly. By Saturday of next week, we start to see the low, just still off the west coast, actually migrating back northward. But you see these waves? These waves start to eject and come in across California, then across the Rockies. And this time of year, you're pushing the jet stream over very moist conditions. Obviously, you're pushing strong jet stream winds over the water. So you are going to be entraining into the flow a lot more humidity, a lot more opportunity for these little lows to bring moisture with them. So what this will do is start into motion a more active pattern. Basically, the next storm cycle starts next weekend and goes into the first week of April. So enjoy next week's weather. There you go. By Monday, the last day of March, bigger pieces and a little bit of a high pressure ridge now starts to build in the eastern Pacific, which basically opens the door for these to come back in. So despite the break in the weather next week, it'll likely be followed up by a more active weather pattern again. Snowpack update. Anywhere you see green or you see blue, snowpack is in pretty good shape. Green means it's 90 to over 100%. Blue means it's well above 100%. Now the yellow areas, you're in the 70s and 80s. The orange areas, you're below 70. Generally speaking, along and north of this line and around, bounded in like this, snowpacks are pretty good. Especially in the blue and the green areas. Now we have some drainages that are suffering a little bit the further east you get off the Rockies. And also it's been a real struggle down here in the Four Corners region. It just has not been a good snowpack winter because the storms have had a bias north. Sierra Nevada has seen an increase in snowpack. And what will happen between now and Sunday is these areas up here are going to be getting more snow. So these snowpack numbers will get a little bit of a boost. If you look at Wyoming, you can see that the big snowpack regions, the Wind, the Green River basins, the Snake, all of these green areas are doing very good. Now, we did see that big snow send the Tongue River over 100% of average here over the past several days because of the most recent storm. So you can see the lower North Platte and the Powder and the Belle Fourche and the Cheyenne not doing as well. But the big water holders, like the North Platte, Laramie River drainages, they're doing okay. Are they super? No, but they're doing okay. The South Platte here, this is basically because of the poor snowpack on the summit area between Laramie and Cheyenne this winter. But the whole South Platte Basin overall is doing at or above average, except down here. And anybody that lives around Cheyenne and Laramie knows that this has been the case this winter. But there's always a chance with one spring storm that could catch up. A reminder before the end of March, if you haven't signed up yet to be a CoCoRaHS observer, get your rain gauge, measure the precipitation, and report it, because it's very, very helpful keeping track of drought, keeping track of precipitation, not only across the West, but really across the world. These volunteers are really important, and here's your chance to become one. Now, it's a rain gauge rally. It's a little bit of a friendly competition between states, and I'll show you the current leaderboard and how maybe your state could advance on the leaderboard. So this is what it takes. Go to the website, learn a little bit more about it. You can see the website address down there at the bottom. So right now, Minnesota's way ahead. My goodness. Wow, they're doing something there. But you can see some of the western states are climbing up the leaderboard. Wyoming is advancing and coming on up. But we need some help in Colorado and Nebraska. Colorado and Nebraska, folks, you need to up your game a little bit. And then further down on the list is Utah and some other western states. So let's see if we can get some of these Rocky Mountain states up the leaderboard. New Mexico has had a little bit of a push here lately. You have till the end of March to take part in the rain gauge rally. Go here to sign up. It's fun, it's important, and especially if you live in a rural area. And I haven't mentioned this. This website gives you the ability to check out rain gauge totals all across the United States and in your neighborhood. And it's an enormous tool if you want to keep track of precipitation, not only to become a volunteer, but this website that you report to is a great database, a great place to go to track precipitation across the West, but really no matter where you are. Have yourself a great Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow.